Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. Hope you guys had a good day. So let's go and do another pre-market analysis for tomorrow. Basically, today we had CPI, both in the UK and in the US. In the US, the data was in alignment with what the market was expected. At this point, we have actually CPI at 2.9%. Market was actually looking at 3%, but on a monthly basis, it was exactly the same, 0.2%. And in the UK, we have normal CPI at 2.2 and core CPI at 3.3%. Right? So we had a little bit of volatility. Also, we had the interest rate in New Zealand where we cut rates for the first time. That was a little bit of a surprise in New Zealand, right? But there you go. We had a little bit of volatility that goes exactly in alignment with what we were anticipating and predicting these last few days. Like in particular, the index is basically now the catalyst. It's finally being in control of the other major US pairs, dollar pairs, and that's what we had. So we had this move to downside. We talked about that we had this demand zone waiting in here. It was still fresh, and that's where price is reacting, where price reacted, right? So we feel that space. No surprise with that one. That was already yesterday, and then we reacted from that supply level. It was left in there, and then price just moved to downside. When there one time start to create some liquidity in here with these flows. So that's an interesting one, and question mark now is going to be, are we going to hold it or not from this level? Like for now, the first reaction was really good. Price reacted precisely from that demand zone in there at the lows, so that's perfect. All right, so price reacted from this level. That's absolutely perfect. It doesn't really need to create any more lows at this point. The question mark now is price able to actually break these highs in here and move to the upside after that, or at least open the door for price to move to the upside after that, where of course it can still retest somewhere in here to go again, right? And that's maybe the move for tomorrow morning around the London Open. That's going to be the key setup. It's going to be straight away to see if price managed to break or not this level. Not even this high. I'm already looking for price even to break properly this structure in here and not just this high in there. But at least this high it kind of needs to break in order to start looking for longs or thinking that dollar may actually go higher from here. Wait a second, this is annoying. Yeah, so that's what we have on dollar index. Again, it's exactly what we've been looking for. Bigger picture, yes, we can still even go to downside, but in this time frame, we actually noticed that price managed to break slightly that high, which means that we may actually go higher from here, and that's why I'm considering actually looking for that to play out. But as I mentioned, it would be great if you do see this high being this structure in here being taken, then price could make that last push down, and somewhere in here we could aim and look for a new long on the dollar index. So that's the key takeaway for tomorrow at this point. Otherwise, if you do start creating some PA, otherwise if you do start creating some PA around this level, then we can, tomorrow morning you can have that push. And I do believe that regardless if you are still going to go higher from here, I do believe that price will at least make an attempt to at least retest this level before moving to the upside. So that's a level in there. Do pay attention to the indices. So there you go. So we have been in this move to the upside on the indices, creating a little bit of this momentum, and now we are looking for the beginning of a zone 3 type of a move. So which means a little bit of a compression here, right? So we start to break some lows in there, but just respected also that zone in here. So it basically respects that month zone. We're starting to move a little bit more to the upside. Perhaps we want to actually to go all the way and target those highs, or if there's going to be anything else in here in between that maybe price can respect. That's something to pay attention. But the type of PI that we're looking for now is exactly this type of manipulation, right? So we are noticing the sellers to start jumping a little bit, managing to break some lows, even though, again, as I mentioned, price still respected that level in there. So it's still a good level that price respected. Can even, for example, go and respect this level one more time and then push to the upside from here. All right, so that's still a valid even setup, a long setup or continuation setup in here on the S&P until we eventually continue to go slightly higher. Right now we fake out this level. That's something that we wanted to see, and price is reacting from some structure in there. We also had this previous demand zone. We have these left shoulders as well, so that's something to consider. Otherwise, price is going to be looking we are going to be looking for price to get closer to these highs in there, right, to around this structure on the S&P before potentially turn. Now, as we mentioned, we may have a little bit of a move like this, or price going up and down, which means that's going to provide opportunities for both the buyers and sellers at this point, until we actually maybe have, if you do have another break of this low, then you may actually start turning a little bit and you can target some of this structure in here. But if this low continues to hold, then you're going to continue to go slightly higher until we get a little bit maybe closer to that level, as I just mentioned. So that's the type of movement that I'm going to continue to look in here. It's a little bit of a compression move now into this new phase 3, which eventually can lead into the reversal as price continues to move slightly higher. Similar as well on the Nasdaq. Again, you have the break of low, and then we have a low high, new break of low, new break of a high. So it's a little bit of a manipulation there. Nasdaq actually managed to break slightly that structure. So S&P respected this level in here. Nasdaq actually went a little bit below that. It's already broken at around this level, right? So we may have respected this level in there. Yeah, basically that's a little bit where price is reacting. That's a bit in the middle, not exactly the best level, as it's in alignment with this one. Yeah, starting to slow down, to show some weakness in here. So we can still have a little bit more of a push to the upside. We may get closer a little bit to this level before the turn, but this is something that we need to start paying attention to, right? And we can actually eventually target these lows or this level in here for a short position. This is something to bear in mind, starting from basically from where we are right now, right? So we start having this manipulation as well. Again, I would like to see price going slightly higher, maybe again getting closer to this level, but we start opening that door. So up until this point, price was just moving to the upside, and now we are getting a little bit closer to that structure. So that's the moment that we are going to start looking for PI to look for shorts. Dow as well moving higher, getting closer to this level in here. So that's something also that we need to pay attention to see if there's going to be opportunities to look for a short after that. We try to go to the downside. Again, similar to the S&P, I do believe that we respected the same level in there. I think that's the same demand zone that respected on the S&P, and then price actually managed to break to the upside and now getting closer to this level in there. So we'll see what's going to happen as well, if we're getting closer or not, or if price does want to get also closer to those highs once again. Right, so we need to find what kind of orders are left. Orders are still fresh around this level. Seems quite compressed, to be honest. So actually it would be nice to see price actually respecting still that level in here underneath in there. Then you do have also this demand zone that price basically just ignored on the way down, so that could also be a level in there. So we'll see how price is going to react in there. Then you have also DAX, which is starting to get really close to that previous level support resistance as well in the bigger picture, and getting closer to this level, and that's the level that we have been waiting for. Again, price is compressing quite a lot, has been moving to the upside, like even creating out all these lows. Actually, this most recent low actually managed to go below that level, so that's actually nice. We have actually our first break of a low in here. Actually, we already had another one in there, so that's exactly what you want to look in here. Like, so we start accumulating breaks of lows, which is a great sign for a potential turn, and that's going to be actually now on my radar for tomorrow to look for an opportunity, to look for sales on the DAX. It does start to look really good in there. So we have a few walls being broken. Can I draw this? Perfect. Yeah. So grab it. Yeah. Like, so we start noticing that price is breaking lows while we're still moving up to the upside, which is great because eventually that's going to be and end up being the target. Now, up until this point, I haven't really been looking for shorts because I'm still waiting for price to get closer to this support resistance on a higher time frame. Again, it requires patience, but of course you do have other pairs that you can look for to look for opportunities. But it's better actually sometimes to just be patient instead of trying to start shorting all this when price is not really creating any momentum. So let's continue to see. I like the way price is losing momentum. I like the way price is starting to compress and breaking lows. So I'm going to be curious to see how price may react around this structure. I want to see something like that perhaps happening in here. So it goes a little bit, creates that, and then turns and yeah, it can make a move like that, for example, or maybe just again break, and eventually we're going to break this trend line as well. That could be another clue, but even before that we can have that confirmation in here, right? So and all of a sudden you can trade around this range in here, but first price can retest that. So that can be an interesting sell opportunity as well for tomorrow on the DAX, or eventually in the next couple of days. Yeah, there's that one. Looks really good. Nikkei just continues to go higher as well. Then we have crypto, which continue to move to the downside, right? So you keep respecting that level in there. So you keep respecting this this structure. Did you manage to fake out that one? Yeah, basically we did respect that high still. So we are stuck within this range at this point between these lows and that high. So we'll see which one actually is going to break first in here. I do prefer a little bit more Ethereum because Ethereum actually managed to slightly fake out this high in there. Again, I was looking for price to go slightly higher, but it's nice that actually fake out that level. We do have a strong level of support resistance just above it. And we had all this liquidity in here being created, good approach. And then you had the turn again around the CPI as well in here, right? So that was a nice move. And perhaps if price still wants to go closer to this level, there's maybe a new opportunity to also look for sales again around that structure. So that's something to bear in mind. Of course, to be even better if you do manage to break below that low, right? So that's something to bear in mind as well. And Solana tried to go higher. It actually managed to fake out those lows, those highs. Yeah, still going to see what's going to happen here. I want Solana to go far away from this level before anything else. So in terms of the indices, right? So yesterday we mentioned that could be a continuation here, and it just happened like that. After breaking these highs, price actually just continued, and now we're getting closer to the highs again, right? So basically price respected these lows and then is coming back to the highs again. I'm curious to see how price may react around this level. Price can still have a little bit of an impact in there. That's something to pay attention in here, as price is starting to compress a little bit as well, so with respect to now this demand zone. And yeah, we'll see. We need to continue to follow this Euro index to see how price eventually is going to react from this zone in there. I think that's going to be the next level on the Euro index. And then you have the Yen index, which just continues to be within this range. It's quite annoying, to be honest. So for the last few days, it has been just stuck within this range. We did manage to break this high, so all this traction here to the upside. That's one of maybe perhaps indication that price may want to go or start giving days that wants to go higher. But before that, at this point, I don't really like all these lows. I would like to see these lows being taken, a fake out in there, perhaps into some structure around this level in here. That will be perhaps the level that I'll be looking for on the Yen index, or at least go slightly below that zone, below these lows in there. And after that, we may look for price to move to the upside. In there, yes, we do still have this demand now in there. So let's see if price does respect one more time this level. But personally, I do really want to see these lows being taken, and then we may have that move in there. Yes, and that is highs as well. There's still this supply. Price can still respect this level one more time before even taking. And when you do take it, then perhaps you can start filling out this range to the upside Looks like it's taking its time around here. Let's see for how much longer we are going to be around this level. So the end pairs, of course, that's going to be another one that I'm going to be looking for, but I'm waiting for that. Hopefully a quick fake out and then the break back into this structure to eventually look for a move to the upside. All right, looking at individual currency pairs, like, and that's what you're going to be looking in here now, which is the euro dollar, pound dollar, and so on. Now with the euro dollar, so it's leading, right? It's leading in comparison to dollar index because dollar index is still respecting that level. Euro dollar already broke it. Now I did mention that this level on euro dollar looked like an go to the upside, and price wanted to get closer to that level. Now euro dollar is reacting from kind of a weekly level in there, right? Basically, or daily as well, right? That's somehow where the euro dollar is reacting at this point. Looking into the lower time frame, personally, I don't really see anything relevant in here. It looks like it's in a bit in the middle of this compression, which means that eventually euro dollar could continue to go slightly higher. However, I do like the level on the dollar index, right? So there is a little bit of this conflict at this point. I could see euro dollar not really just going all the way and start targeting these highs in there and getting closer to that zone. While on the dollar index, if it wants, it can respect where it is right now, right? So that's a little bit of the tricky situation right now in here, where it was a good reaction after the CPI, so it bounced a little bit, and it was a good reaction in here. Maybe at this highs there's still opportunities to look for. Let's see how price may react around this level in here. Yeah, basically price just retested this previous structure. Yeah, so we'll see how price may react if it retraces, how it reacts from there, or if it comes a little bit more to the downside, it can also bounce from here and go higher. And then we'll see, because again, personally, I'm not the biggest fan exactly where the euro dollar is reacting right now. I would like it to go and see getting in there. But as I mentioned, euro dollar index looks good. So that's just a question mark to see what's going to happen. And if there's any chance to even look for sales at around there, yes, I do think that maybe there's still an opportunity to look for sales in here, depending on the approach. But I wouldn't be surprised if actually the highs are taken and if the euro dollar just continues to move higher. Pound dollar. Right, pound dollar, it exactly reacted from where we mentioned yesterday. So yesterday during the stream, price was exactly around this level in here, and we mentioned that that was one of the last zones that was still fresh on this move to downside. Price decided to respect that level, open with the gap in there, and keep respecting the in here until then with the CPI made a move to downside, and now it actually made a really nice fake out in there. That's actually a nice zone where price reacted as well around the same time where the dollar index reacted from that demand zone, right? So in alignment with that, we had this reaction here on the pound dollar, a reaction on the euro dollar as well to move to downside. Again, there's maybe still orders to look for a sell in there. That could be also possible. Again, personally, it looks like this pound dollar, it's a bit in the middle, eventually can target that level, but for now it's not a bad level to perhaps have a deep retracement in here, or maybe retest this level as well, right? So we could even go higher again, can retest this level. We'll see what's going to happen. Where pound dollar, it even has this level in here that is still fresh, to be honest. But again, of course, at this point, it may not really need to have this deep retracement before making that move in here. So that's going to be an interesting one as well. Yes, open to still look for sales around that level if price gets there, or maybe long somewhere in here if price does want to take these lows in there. So we'll see what's going to happen in here on the pound dollar. Euro pound, I'm still waiting. This is just a game of patience as well. So where I'm still waiting for price to get closer to that level. Right? So it was a nice turn in here. Basically zone 1, zone 2, now separating it and starts compressing, like getting into this compression zone in here at this point. So that's nice to see, and we'll see what's going to happen afterwards, where I'm looking for price to get closer to those levels, eventually to look for a new short position on the euro pound. Price actually managed to break that level, kind of left this level behind, even though on the 4-hour time frame it looks like it's our demand zone. In detail in here we actually managed to break below that level, which may actually open the door to go to the downside in here on the on the euro pound. So it's definitely something to pay attention in here. Yep. So we'll see what's going to happen on euro pound. I'm just being patient and waiting for price to get closer to that level in there. I'm not going to be involved in anything in here in the middle. Eventually price can actually have a little bit of a retracement first before continue to go higher. That's typical as well, tends to happen in the middle, but eventually I'm going to continue to stay patient and at least towards this level or in there. So that's where I'm going to be waiting on euro pound. Aussie dollar, interesting enough, it managed to respect that high in there, that double top in here. So we are kind of a bit in the middle as well. Basically went all the way to feel this compression and basically reacting from whatever extreme is in there. Again, still not exactly my favorite, but of course price wouldn't just move in a straight line all the way until there. Price would bounce and eventually move to the downside to retest some lows and eventually to go higher. Interesting enough, we do have this triple top now. So yeah, personally I do think Aussie dollar still wants to go slightly higher, but again, we are in the middle. Price can even go all the way down somewhere in here or in there and then continue to go higher. If it wants to do that, it could. But let's see how price may react from here. So I'm not really interested at this point. Now, New Zealand was a nice one, but it was with interest rate, right? So it reacted all the way back to the previous level support resistance, right? So this extreme in here, that's exactly where New Zealand went to. And then it actually created good PA, but again, it was overnight in here where price started to turn, fake out that high still, and then it started to turn in here, and that could have been a good short, but again, it was overnight with interest rates surprising the market. And yeah, now filling out this compression, as you can, the approach was really good, filling out this compression, and you can even target somewhere in here, right? So that's a little bit on New Zealand what we have in here. So we'll see. My price can easily literally just come back closer to this level and fake out this low as well. So it's a nice move. Eventually could go back and retracing to that level, but it is what it is now. So looking for that turn. The turn happened in there with the news. The other Aussie pairs. So it's actually a great move to the upside. So we talked about it, that we wanted to see these lows being faked out. It was faked out in there, and then this morning finally moved to the upside in here. Euro Aussie, where we are basically retesting this structure in here on the left side. So good reaction, good move a little bit to the upside in here. We'll see how price may react as well. At this point, it's respecting this level, and then eventually can target that high as well. So we'll see what's going to happen. Good reaction from that level. Yeah, not really a bias at this point. Again, I was expecting this reaction. It happened, but until where price is going to, I'm not really sure. Is price ready to do and go all the way? Not sure about that. Yeah, not really sure about that. So even though this high is already a break of that previous high in there, which means that price can actually eventually starting to move even higher. But we'll see. We'll see how price may react from this level in here. And then we have also Pound Aussie, right? Pound Aussie just stayed still around this level. We do have that level, and then you have that zone in here as well. But again, it kept respecting those lows. So not really interested at this point in anything in here. I'm going to just be curious to see how price may react from that level. In here, I'm not really going to be looking for a short. I'm going to be waiting for price to go higher in there. And then we go into the yen pairs, right? So Aussie yen could have been a good short. So if I count that level, we keep respecting the lows in here. That's interesting. And personally, I'm still waiting for price to get slightly higher into that level. So again, we are creating this interesting range, which eventually can lead into a fake out and then just moving down, or eventually actually gain momentum one direction or the other. Right, so that's a possibility in here. It's similar to what's going on the yen index. Most of the yen pairs are doing exactly the same. Yeah, creating an interesting range in there. Dollar yen, exactly the same thing as well. So you guys remember that I mentioned that there was still a small demand zone in there. That's exactly where price reacted in here overnight. Price went exactly into that smaller zone. So we had the upper edge and then you had the extreme in there. That's where price reacted. And I'm still waiting for price to actually get closer to that level. So on this dollar yen. Good reaction now as well from this demand zone, the new one that was created in there. We may still have a little bit of this level, which price got really close in there, but I'm still looking for price to actually fake out everything in here and get closer to this level. Maybe from here we can finally move to the downside. Like this level in here can also be seen, or starting to be seen, as a break of a low, because we did manage to break this low in here on the dollar yen. So that's something to bear in mind, because we did manage to break that, even though we respected that zone. Yeah, so yeah, continue to go higher and eventually turn from here. That would be the idea, and that's kind of what I'm going to be waiting on the dollar yen. Euro yen, similar. So good reaction from that level in here that we also were a little bit looking for, and then eventually you want to even see price continue to move higher. So that was a nice move just for today. In there again, in my opinion, we are within this zone 3 type of a move where we have this compression, this price moving a little bit to the upside until potentially we have a little bit of a turn in there. So that's something to bear in mind in here on the euro yen as well. Want to see price going slightly higher. On the end, same thing. So we kept respecting these highs in there. Again, another one that eventually can fake out this structure, potentially to start looking for the move down. We'll see how price may react eventually above these highs, or eventually into that zone as well. So that will be something to look at. We did manage to break below that low, and we are still respecting this demand zone in there. So yeah, it's a lot of patience with the yen pairs at this point, because unless you want to trade these intraday moves, and you can, but in terms of actually committing to go to the opposite side, it's still not happening. And then we have dollar CAD, which is quite interesting, as we already had slightly broken that high before. All right, so price went there, it broke that high, respected its double bottom, fake out the level, and now actually broke even better kind of these highs as well. Right now, in my opinion, the situation with dollar CAD is that I think dollar CAD still want, at least personally, I still want dollar CAD to go slightly lower. I don't really like where price is reacting right now. Again, I could even see, as I mentioned, price targeting below that low somewhere into here before the turn. So that's something to bear in mind, or somewhere a little bit more underneath there. So that's on the dollar CAD where I'm going to be looking a bit more towards to. So I still want a new low being created, even though maybe there's this demand zone and price may just react from it. I still want to see this low actually being taken, because I'm looking for price to go slightly lower in there. Now, I do like the approach. We do have this break in there. I do like this approach, this zone 3 type of a move that we have, and you start breaking highs. So that's exactly the type of clues and confirmation that you want to look for eventually for the turn. Right, so that's something that we want to pay attention to. So yeah, first and foremost, of course, these highs may still hold price. Yep, otherwise then eventually you can have a deeper move, a bigger move to the upside in here. Again, personally, I would still like to see these walls in there being taken, and price to push a bit more to the downside. Yeah, definitely somewhere in here could definitely also respect and go. But interesting PA. Now we are getting closer. Again, a lot of patience as well recently with the dollar CAD, or this last week or so. So we may be getting closer to a potential turn. A potential turn in there. Again, Euro CAD, that was really good. So Euro CAD actually moved all the way to the upside. So kept respecting that level. Nice break, and it moved to the upside. That happened basically yesterday, and it fell basically out of the range, right? So it went all the way to test the next level of structure, which is actually where we are. Like, again, of course, there's still the chance that price can still go even higher, but for now this looks a bit interesting. Again, price breaking lows and fake out, and we'll see if this have a little bit of more of a continuation, at least maybe towards here, that price can respect and perhaps continue to push a bit more to the upside. So that's something to bear in mind in here on the CAD. But good reaction, filled out this compression. We mentioned that everything in here looked like it was compressed, which means that price then can just easily just go through all this space and fill the range in there. So that's exactly what happened on the euro CAD. Yeah, we'll see. We're going to have some kind of PI around the structure or some kind of trade opportunities, creating a little bit of a range, with the possibility, if to break above that level, possibility to eventually price going all the way above that level in there. Pound CAD, also with the news of the CPI in the UK. Now it's yeah, it respected that structure as well, and after that, second. Yeah, it respected that. It respected also how this move, the beginning of this move in here. That's basically the target of this move to the upside. And we'll see. We'll see if from here price wants to resume the move to downside, or if it's going to hold it and it's going to challenge a bit more to go higher, right? But this is actually a space that was available all the way from here to there. And this is a key level that actually price can hold and start challenging and moving to the downside. As well. So that's going to be an interesting one. Price respected perfectly that level, so there's no break to the upside at this point, which means that yes, price can actually starting to move forward. So we'll see what's going to happen within this range, which level is going to be broken first. And yes, there's maybe even still orders in there, so price, even if it does something like this, it can still work perfectly. Then dollar front Swiss, yeah, we did manage to break the walls, but we are just now within this range again. Personally, I still want to see price going slightly higher in there to look for a potential short. We did manage to break below that in there, which may have opened a little bit more the room to the downside in here. So we had this big move to downside. Now we're turning a little bit. We'll see if we're going to have that retest a bit more closer to here or not. So that's something to pay attention in here as well on our front Swiss, or if price by chance just wants to actually to continue and eventually get closer to the next structure, which is eventually that high in there. Yeah, so I'll be patient in there. Gold apparently is respecting and holding the all-time highs. Great reaction. So if I count that high, great reaction from which one of the last levels that was still fresh in there. And there you go, right? We started to break some lows. That's a great basically pattern as well that ended up happening in here. I was not really involved in this, but great, right? Start breaking lows, fake out the highs, and yeah, this point already reacted from this level, so maybe from there can be another continuation or something like that could happen as well. But yes, interesting. Gold continue to respect all-time highs in there, not really breaking them. And we have also silver that respected the level and moved down. So at this point, yeah, at this point, don't really want to trade silver. It's kind of in the middle, mixed up, but that's not exactly the type of high probability setups that I'm looking for. And then we have oil, which actually turned straight away, right? So you made out that big move, respected, and now you start moving lower. Initially respected a little bit from this level, but just a trend continuation. So the same way that is creating momentum to the upside is basically the same way that it's going to the downside, like at the same speed basically. And we may get all the way towards this level in here. So somewhere in there, we can maybe look for some kind of correction, or even actually in here below these lows. Yeah, so we'll see it again. Nice reaction all the way to that extreme. Yeah, interesting move. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen as well in here. So I'm going to wait a little bit more for price now to get closer to the extreme. Even Brent can go slightly lower before aiming to go or to look for longs. So yes, basically it's going to be interesting tomorrow morning where the pound and euro dollar are going to be in alignment with the dollar index as well. So dollar index, is it going to respect the lows, or it's going to break this mid-range high to potentially move to the upside? We have new GDP news in the UK tomorrow. So again, 7 a.m. there's going to be new news in the UK. We already had unemployment yesterday, today CPI, then tomorrow GDP. So that's another catalyst to expect in the pound pairs. It's going to be interesting again. Are you going to come back all the way back to these highs, or are you going to just now start to break lower and getting closer to here? and also for the euro pound move that I'm waiting to see if we get that move a bit more closer to the highs, which then can lead into the short. That it's basically what I'll be looking for. The yen pairs, yes, I want to see them breaking or going slightly higher before actually turning. So we do create, or we are creating a lot, and the big range at the highs, the same way the yen index is creating at the lows, that range. What else? The indices are starting to compress a little bit, so starting to create a little bit of manipulation, breaking some lows, continue to go slightly higher. Looking in the bigger picture, I do think that the indices may want to still go slightly higher before actually coming to the downside, but we may have now this type of opportunities where buyers and sellers can participate in market, because there's going to be opportunities for both of them, which again eventually we may continue to create new highs before actually resume the move to the downside. CAD pairs as well, especially dollar CAD, it's an interesting one to pay attention. I think we may get closer to a zone in here where you can potentially turn to the upside. Like, we are compressing quite a lot. May need a little bit of momentum to go. We'll see what's going to happen around this structure in here. Right? But you start to break some highs, so that's something to bear in mind in here. And that's it. That's basically it for tomorrow. Dollar index is going to be again the important one to pay attention, and then indices and the yen pairs also, they look good. Yeah, that's basically it. So thank you guys, and we will go again tomorrow. And yeah, if you are new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments if what kind of markets are you trading, what kind of opportunities are you looking for. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.